Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. 8 people rushed to hospital following 6-vehicle collision in St. Anne. St. James Health Department dismisses claims of spoiled meat being sold to unsuspected customers at Charles Gordon Market. And later in sports, JFF cleared of financial restrictions by FIFA. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry-Ann Simpson. Here are the details. Up first this afternoon, 8 persons were rushed to the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital for treatment following a 6-vehicle collision along the Landover Main Road near Runaway Bay this morning. TVJ News understands that a bus was transporting hotel guests from the Moon Palace Hotel in Ocho Rios heading to the airport in Montego Bay when the crash occurred. Arising from the incident, traffic was backed up for miles along the north coast as firefighters, police and a wrecking crew worked quickly to clear the rubble. Now it's unclear what led to the crash. There were no fatalities. One man is dead and a police officer seriously injured following a crash along the Agualta Vale Main Road in St. Mary early Wednesday morning. The deceased has been identified as 25-year-old DeAndre Simpson, one of 4 passengers in the vehicle. Preliminary reports are that the driver of a Toyota Mark X was traveling from Kingston when he lost control of the vehicle. The car ran off the road, resulting in Mr. Simpson being flung from the vehicle. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Now, a police constable who was also a passenger has been hospitalized in critical but stable condition. The other 2 passengers, along with the driver, were treated for minor injuries. Residents of Queen Heights in St. Anne are again appealing to the St. Anne Municipal Corporation to improve the management of a cemetery in their community. TVJ News understands that chaos erupted in the area over the weekend as several funerals led to a massive traffic pileup along the roadway for hours, rendering it impassable. Amoy Harriet has this TVJ News follow-up.
Mourners clad in black, trying to lay their loved ones to rest at the Queen Heights Land Settlement Cemetery. Not getting any rest, though, are residents from the community. They chaotically flooded the streets outside the cemetery where multiple funerals were underway. The community members say over the last few years, they've noticed an increase in the number of outsiders coming into the area for burials.
One left up we can't take no more. It pull up. Cemetery with a chat.
The issue was further exacerbated over the weekend as the residents were unable to traverse the roadway because of a major traffic pileup from the funerals. And this happens almost every weekend. They're at their wits' end.
And the grave them what leafy berry, we are going to pull them up and we are going to take action. I don't know if we do send police and soldiers for the Cornwall community.
So how much
police around in the area? We tired I know parish council. Parish council we tired I to on the road for walk when a funeral.
Among their concerns also is that the facility lacks maintenance, restrooms, and security. We put the issue to Mayor of St. Anne's Bay, Michael Belnavis.
That particular cemetery is almost full. The residents are clamoring to ensure that it is whatever is left in there in terms of space is maintained for the residents of that area only.
But
it is our responsibility to say who is buried in there and so on. It's really for the public. It's not for a small community.
The mayor says, however, that the municipal corporation is treating the matter with sensitivity and will be working alongside the residents for a solution. Now, there were assurances last month that the corporation identified lands to expand a public cemetery in the neighboring community of Tobolski, but plans aren't far advanced. Now, overall, there are over 20 cemeteries in the parish, but over 2/3 of them are at full capacity.
The problem that we have in St. Anne is that the cemeteries are close, if not filled, close to being filled up. And with the population exploding in St. Anne, we have to now move into several other areas of burial, including tiered burial and cremation. So we're now looking at how we can move into a situation of crematorials, where people, and we build a room and have these urns stored in the rooms and so on. There's a whole new dispensation.
The corporation will be looking further into this in future meetings. Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
To a TVJ News follow-up, the St. James Health Department is reporting that no spoiled meat has been sold to unsuspecting customers at the Charles Gordon Market since the start of the year. Details in this report. At last month's meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Minority Leader Michael Troop revealed that meat disposed at the retirement dump in the parish was being sold at the Charles Gordon Market. He said the issue was brought to his attention by residents following a walkthrough of the dump. Chief Public Health Inspector for St. James, Sharika Lewis, promised that the matter would have been investigated. And at the recent sitting of the Municipal Corporation's monthly meeting, Ms. Lewis revealed her findings.
The St. James Health Department has not conducted any disposal of meat or any other foods since the start of this year. I stand resolute that the Health Department provides supervision from the point of condemnation to disposal of any condemned food item.
She gave details of the usual procedure.
Denaturant, which is a liquid dye used to penetrate the skin of the carcass, making the meat visibly inedible, is added to any condemned food items, rendering the food items unfit for human consumption. The police assistance is sought to accompany the team and the food item to the landfill. Prior notice is also given to NSWMA of our intention, and a special cell is created. The team ensures that all food items are adequately covered before standing down the operation.
In the meantime, Councillor Troop was blasted for creating panic.
You are supposed to be responsible. So,
I am responsible.
So what I would expect Councillor Troop to have done, even from then and even for the month from then until today, just get the evidence to the public health, get the evidence to the NSWMA representative for them to go investigate, and if there is a gap, close the gap. And then if that doesn't arise, then you come here and you make up a nice about it. But don't create hysteria without any evidence. Him not say, him don't identify who him get the information from. It could be hearsay, it could be sus, it could be propaganda, it could be all types of things. But there is nothing.
Over in St. Thomas, the medical health officer has raised concern that a community is putting the entire parish at risk of an outbreak from contaminated water. The matter was raised at this month's Municipal Corporation meeting. Krista Campbell has the highlights.
Medical Health Officer for St. Thomas, Dr. Doyen Smith, says the water distribution issues leave the parish vulnerable to a dengue fever outbreak. But he says there's an even bigger concern from polluted water in Golden Grove Meadows.
The water table is particularly high according to the Water Resources Authority. And if you have particularly high water table, a sewage treatment system must be a competent tertiary system. System that is there at present continues to leak untreated sewage into the environment, which puts us all at risk because they have that nice aquifer around there that so many people will be getting water from.
He says the matter is before the courts. Turning to other water sources as well as water being stored in drums and other containers, he urged residents to pay attention to the quality of the commodity they consume.
The time is getting drier and drier. A lot of those water supplies are going to end up drying up. So those that remain will have to be of greater importance and ensure that they have the right chlorine levels. We have to push for this. I want to take the opportunity to push again for us as a parish to ensure all of these nice rivers that we have, all of these nice aquifers, some of which we send water to Kingston. We have our own water, let us distribute it appropriately so persons will get piped water that is safe and prevent the gastroenteritis outbreaks that are a possibility.
Although the parish has recorded 96.1% safe samples of piped water tested for the last month, Dr. Smith warned organizations in particular to maintain the 95% targeted chlorine levels for drinking water.
The municipal corporation would have been one of those that fell very much from 96.5% down to 85.7%. So there was some corrective works have started in that, and I'm grateful for us making sure we protect the parish of St. Thomas.
Meanwhile, he notes that plans are in place to address the water distribution issue at the Princess Margaret Hospital.
So once electricity goes, water goes also. So we have a challenge for the hospital. What we're in the process of doing now, thanks to the Southeast Regional Health Authority, is we're putting in a 150,000 gallon tank for water. So that's going to give us a good deal of redundancy in case the system goes down, hurricane happens, we're better able to sustain ourselves and to manage and treat the patients.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. A massive cleanup effort is set for Spanish Town and several other communities in St. Catherine for March 30. The usual proceedings of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation took a backseat this week as the business of cleanliness and beautification took center stage. Sandy Williams reports.
Standing order suspended. The business of brooms, shovels and paintbrushes called to order. A renewed spirit of transformation is about to sweep through Spanish Town and surrounding rural communities, thanks to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. With an ambitious lineup of 70 projects, the initiative goes far beyond simple garbage removal.
This year we're taking on the task of attacking 30 projects this year for minor repairs and construction. 30 homes that will be renovated, will be built through the Operation Save a Youth program right across the parish.
Volunteers will take on minor repairs and construction, as well as a health and education expo aimed at empowering residents.
We have over 37 vendors and exhibitors from various companies that will be giving back to the community, and government institutions as well. So we'll be having doctors, dentists providing medical and dental services. We'll be having persons giving counseling sessions, having persons relating to people as it relates to their personal affairs, so banking, as it relates to NHT, RGD, persons who would like to go to school, we'll be right there to facilitate them as well.
Hundreds of community members are set to roll up their sleeves in a shared mission to restore and revitalize the old capital and its outskirts. Spanish Town, which has long battled garbage pileups and deteriorating public spaces, will be a key focus, with teams tackling clogged drains, overgrown lots and littered streets.
So we'll be going by the Old Harbour Bay Fishing Village, we'll be going by Helsha Beach, we'll be going to the markets in Linstead, Old Harbour, right here in Spanish Town. We'll be cleaning up on the roadsides as well, just to ensure that individuals see the impact of young people giving back.
One of the key organizers, Renee Malcolm Robertson, underscores the church's commitment to uplifting communities beyond the walls of worship.
A lot of times when things happen in Jamaica, Mr. Your Worship, persons always say the church is too quiet. The church is not doing anything. And it is true. And that is why the Adventist Church are coming out of the Four Walls Council. And we are saying we're going to be taking Jesus to the streets. And we're taking the young people to show other young people that it's not worth it to take up the gun.
22 scholarships for high school and tertiary education will also be distributed. Backing the initiative, the Spanish Town Municipal Corporation and the business community have pledged their support to ensure its success. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
Lumber Depot is reporting net profits of $118.85 million for the 9 months ending January 31 this year on revenues of $1.13 billion. while the company continues to see strong returns with over 15% return on equity. Sales have softened by 2.07% due to economic factors and increased administrative costs, led to a 3.94% decline in profit before tax compared to last year. And the Barbados-based Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, is forecasting economic growth of 2.5% among its 19 borrowing member countries in 2025. This follows growth of 1.7% in 2024, excluding Guyana, whose economy surged by 43.5% last year. Presenting the regional economic performance and prospects at its annual news conference on Wednesday, the CDB's Director of Economics, Ian Durant, said that the 2025 projection also does not include the forecast for Guyana. He said growth is forecast to vary among the 16 countries, with Guyana's expansion expected to slow to 11.9% following its rapid growth in oil production in 2024. For the Business Minute, I'm Shane Masters.
Time now for the top stories from around the world.
Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, is condemning the deportation of more than 200 Venezuelan migrants sent by the U.S. to a notorious mega prison in El Salvador. President Maduro said his government will deliver El Salvador an official document to request the return of the Venezuelan deportees. Now, over the weekend, U.S. President Donald Trump invoked an 18th century wartime law to deport 238 Venezuelans it claims are part of the Tren de Aragua gang. Earlier this week, protests erupted across Venezuela with the family members of the deportees insisting their relatives are not part of the gang. On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to sign a long-expected executive action today to begin dismantling the Department of Education. Trump plans to sign the order at a ceremony alongside the Republican governors of Texas, Indiana, Florida, and Ohio, where he will call on U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon to take all necessary steps to return education authority to the states. Now, the move has been expected since early February when the White House revealed its intentions but withheld the action until after McMahon's Senate confirmation. And Turkish police on Wednesday arrested Istanbul's mayor as part of investigations into alleged corruption and terror links. It was a dramatic escalation in an ongoing government crackdown on the opposition. Now, authorities also closed several roads around Istanbul and banned demonstrations in the city for 4 days, but that didn't stop protesters from flooding the streets. And those were some of the major stories from around the world. I'm Amoy Harriet.
Thank you, Amoy, and we now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.